Chapter 5, Obsession. I'm hoping Twilight does next because it'd just be cool. She's been the biggest bitch of this entire story. Twilight whimpered quietly, keeping her head covered, trying to shield out of the noise. She hadn't even noticed it had gone quiet. After a few moments, she raised herself up, moving her arms away from her head. She looked around, spotting Rainbow Dash in the air as she came down and landed next to her.
Rainbow Dash, please, turn back,
Twilight said pleadingly.
It's way too dangerous. Everyone else is gone. I don't want to lose you too. I just met you, and this is crazy. But I want you to die. So please die maybe. I don't know. Twilight, I'm not gonna abandon you now.
You just met, Rainbow Dash said, smiling at her sadly.
Besides, we don't have that much further to go. You won't win, it doesn't matter.
While flying overhead, I saw the castle of the Royal Pony Sisters. They have names, you know. Twilight looked at Rainbow Dash quietly before giving her a faint smile in return.
All right, Rainbow. There isn't much farther to go,
she said softly, sighing, then looked over, seeing the river. We'll have to cross the river first. Rainbow Dash flexed her wings a bit, looking over at the river, the back of Twilight.
I can fly, but how will you get over?
She asked, sitting down, trying to come up with an idea. Twilight considered for a moment, sitting down, thinking about the best way to cross.
Oh, of course! I'll teleport myself. Since you can fly, I can easily teleport just myself, she said, looking at the river bank on the other side, finding a good spot before teleporting to it. All right, we'll meet you on the other side of the river,
Rainbow Dash said, extending her wings and flies across the river, high enough to stay out of the reach of the serpent landing next to Twilight after she reappeared. The two of them started to walk down the path, Rainbow Dash leading Twilight towards the castle she saw from the air. Both remained pretty quiet as they got closer. Rainbow Dash stops and pointed a hoof.
There it is, Twilight. The castle of Royal Pony Sisters, she said softly as they both looked over towards the castle. Twilight starts to run towards the castle and squeaks as she almost goes off the other side of the cliff. Rainbow Dash flies over quickly and grabbing her tail for teeth and pulls away. What's with you and falling off cliffs today?
She wants to die. And honestly, I'm going to laugh when it happens. Rainbow Dash still looking at her. Twilight blushed brightly at Rainbow Dash before looking over the chasm, then looks down, seeing how deep it was.
How are we going to cross this one?
Twilight said, looking at the other side. I don't know, maybe do what you did before, fly and teleport.
God, Twilight, for someone so smart, you're just kind of stupid, you know that? Just saying.
Twilight said, looking at the other side.
I got this,
Rainbow Dash said, extending her wings and flies up to the other side, grabbing the broken rope, pulling it up. She lands and pulls the rope, wrapping it around the post, starting to tie it off.
Rainbow.
A voice speaks up, causing her to stop and looks around. As she looks around, the blue mist flies past her into a haze of fog unseen.
Rainbow.
She turns quickly and scans the haze.
Who's there?
She asked loudly, raising her hoofs up, ready to attack.
I ain't scared of you. Show yourself, Apollo Creed. We've been eagerly awaiting the arrival of the best flyer in Equestria.
The voice spoke and Rainbow Dash settled down.
Who?
Rainbow Dash said as she looked into the haze.
Why, you, of course.
The voice spoke, stroking Rainbow Dash's eagle. Ego.
Really?
Rainbow Dash said, before getting a more proud look.
I mean, oh yeah. Me. Hey, you wouldn't mind telling the Wonderbolts that, would you? Because I've been trying to get into that group for, like, ever. No, Rainbow Dash. We want you to join us,
the voice said as three figures come out of the fog, standing in front of Rainbow Dash. They are in purple and black flight suits with yellow lightning bolt designs to separate the purple and black. There was a mark of a skull of wings over the area cutie marks would be. They also had on flight goggles with yellow lenses and purple straps.
The Shadow Bolts, one of the figures said. We're the greatest aerial team in Everfree Forest. As soon we'll be the greatest in all of Equestria. But first, we need a captain.
Then she says, not you, Lightning Dust, and kills her. Perfect. That's how I'd write this story. Once she said that, Rainbow Dash's eyes practically shine with eagerness and excitement.
The most magnificent. Yes,
Rainbow Dash agreed as her ego stroked forward as the figure flew around her.
Swiftest.
She spoke again, stroking at Rainbow Dash's eagerness. Even more, she flied around her.
Yes,
Rainbow Dash agreed, more letting her ego cloud her judgment.
Bravest flyer in all the land,
the figure added as she continued to stroke at her ego.
Yes, it's all true,
Rainbow Dash agreed, from all the ego stroking as the figure flew away before going and coming up from her side.
We need,
she said before leaning her head in close to Rainbow Dash's ear and whispered into it.
You! Woohoo!
Rainbow Dash said loudly and flew up into the air.
Sign me up! she said, before flying over to the bridge and finished tying it up so Twilight could cross. Just let me get this bridge real quick. Just let me tie this bridge real quick and then we can have a deal. The figure flew over and pushed Rainbow Dash back from the rope. No!
It's either her or the dog.
Rainbow Dash.
Rainbow. This is a comedy, not tragedy. Rainbow Dash paused for a moment to reconsider what she had said, until she heard Twilight call from across the chasm.
Rainbow! What's taking so long?
Twilight could see the figures in the flight suits standing near Rainbow Dash.
Oh no, she said softly before yelling. Rainbow!
The one that had been talking looked over at Twilight, for her eyes glowed, causing the mist to pull in close and block Twilight's view.
Don't listen to them!
Twilight tried to yell, but the thick fog also had a spell leading to a block to block her voice as well. Rainbow Dash was still thinking it over, going over in her mind that all that had happened to lead them to this point. The loss of Applejack, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, and Rarity. Almost all of them were your fault. They had all perished for this mission, and she wanted to see it through.
Rainbow Dash, you will die if you go in there. Just consider it. Certain death, or live in your dreams.
Her dreams stood fly for the Wonderbolts, not for the Shadow Bolts, the figure said, looking at Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash closed her eyes tight and sighed. It was a hard offer that passed up with everything that had happened. Her loyalty broke, and she looked up at the figure. You. I'll join you in your team. That's nice. The figure grinned and its eyes flashed again as it turned into the mist and enveloped Rainbow Dash. Huh. What's going on? Stop! Rainbow Dash screamed, feeling as if millions of tiny pins started to pierce deep into her body. She could feel her life energy drain out of her and her body shrivel up, her skin becoming tight against her bones. The haze that had covered the area faded away, and Twilight could see the blue mist covering Rainbow Dash's body, causing it to waste away rapidly as she writhed and screamed in pain. No! Rainbow Dash! She yelled, and her horn flared as she teleported to the side of the chasm. Now she had a clean view of it, and could form her target location safely in her mind. Get off of her! She yelled, using her hooves to try and push the mist off Rainbow Dash, but her hooves moved through it easily and had no effect. She fired a blast of magic into the mist, but it just seemed to absorb the energy into itself. She could only watch in horror as Rainbow Dash's body shriveled up even more. The hair in Rainbow Dash's mane and tail falling out, leaving small strands of it, and her feathers on her wings drop away, leaving only a handful of them. Her eyes turned black, which is the pin prick in the center. The mist came off her body, leaving Rainbow Dash just standing there for a moment before her wings snapped and she took off into the air. No, Rainbow Dash, why? She said, watching Rainbow Dash fly off as little more than a shadow of who she once was. Twilight's eyes watered up. She knew what had happened and made her feel sick. Why'd you listen to them? Now you're going to be cursed to fly the night sky, disloyal to your only companion, for eternity. A fate worse than death. She watched for a few more moments before turning away, closing her eyes in tight, wiping out her eyes with her hoof before reading herself to go into the castle alone and face Nyra Moon and die. She only hoped she would be able to defeat her and maybe make some good come of this tragedy. Rainbow Dash just flew through the everfree forest over the tree canopy, unable to control her body, her mind constantly replaying the moment of her disloyalty on an endless loop, unable to stop and unable to control her body in the endless cycle of pain and regret that filled her soul. I'm not gonna lie, that was the most creative one so far. That was a creative one. Other than that, yeah, fuck you, Twilight. You're dead next, bitch. I'm gonna laugh. Ha 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 ha.